So I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it out of what's in my head. And I feel it, a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and get real high. And I feel the top of my lungs, what's going on? Tries. Oh my God, do I try? I try all the time.
Damn sure did try to make it past the first round of the playoffs. It didn't work out very well, Bible Thump. Feels bad, man. Welcome, everybody, to the semifinals edition of Tavern Talk, THL's first and only official recap show. On tap tonight, we got nothing but playoff hype coming from Mr. Cassidy, because Slim and I are out. It feels so bad.
Yeah, it does feel bad, man.
Which that's like 3 drinks already. Top 3 rules are still the same. We're adding in tonight whenever Slim and I are reminded that we are no longer in the playoffs.
Oh,
You guys,
get your drinks ready.
I got more if I need them.
it feels awful. So let's get into this thing. With me, as always, to my left, your right, the one and only bearded beauty, Mr. Slimsh. How are you this evening, sir?
Could be better, but pretty good. We Jack Sox and I here have grown closer now, in sharing this in common. How are you holding up over there?
It hurts, man. It hurts really bad. It's okay though.
I mean, you had the most heartbreaking one of all, so yeah, let's
yeah, we'll get into that. Below me, holding his spot in the corner, holding his spot in the playoffs, holding the hopes of Tavern Talk earning a championship this season, is Mr. Cassidy. How are you, sir?
I'm sleep deprived. I'm sick of Hearthstone. And I'm tired of seeing the little notification that says Mange has begun spectating your game. So it's playoff season.
Yeah, it is. For those of you who don't know what went down in the bottom corner there, where we usually have our guest, is the playoff brackets as they currently stand, and you'll notice that both Entropy and the Gosu Casuals are in gray. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the week that was the quarterfinals of the playoffs, as the Harry Generals squared off with the Filthy Role Players. And guys, I thought this one was a lot closer than expected. What were your guys' take on this throwdown showdown?
The generals and the role players, you say? Was it pretty close? I mean, yeah, it did come down to the last match, right? Hot Asian Girl and Arbitrary Armor was going to decide it all, and it did. So yeah, that one was really close, probably a nail biter, but ultimately in the end, the generals, who I think a lot of us saw as the favorites, one of the bigger favorites if we turn back to those polls from the Facebook page, managed to bring it out. So yeah, it seems about right. Number 1 blue seed takes it pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
Although it was 4 points close last match.
I mean, when it comes down to the last match, I don't know if you could call that convincingly, but it definitely the top what was it, 3 there? Going 9-2 was definitely a good start for the generals there. Mr. Cassidy, you have been one of the biggest advocates for the Harry Generals all season long. Was this the performance you expected out of them, and what were you happy to see? And seeing as you're in the playoffs, what were you also not so happy to see as somebody who eventually has to maybe compete against them?
No, I thought they played really well. They lost a really close one up top, so the series looked a little closer than it probably was. But no, I think it was overall a really strong performance. They struggled again in the 4 seed, which is becoming a bit of a trend with, well, not a bit. It is a very clear trend with them. And that's definitely something to keep an eye on going forward. But overall, I think they played the way we expected them to play. And hopefully we have the opportunity to play either them or Supreme next week.
So you bring up an interesting point as Petrucci and Gerblans that have hopped back and forth throughout the season in that fourth spot. Do you think is better for them to keep Petrucci in the 4 seed, or do you think he provides a better chance to get much needed points in the 4 and 5 spot in the 5 seed?
I don't know enough about Gurren Blanston. I think I've only seen him play on stream like once or twice. But I know Detrucci generally has a lot of success down there in the 5 seed, and his PR is higher. So I think, just like in terms of numbers, if you're gonna plan on losing at 4, you're gonna want the higher PR player at 5. So it's probably better for them that he's at 5. But I think overall they're pretty similar players.
Hmm. So another question I have for you guys, and we saw it over in the red division as Explosive Sheep filled in. Having Hot Asian Girl step in this week as a sub and having such an impact with the series coming down to the matchup between Hot Asian Girl and why are words failing me here? It was Arbitrary Armor, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, I would argue, and we'll get into it more in depth when we get down there, that Explosive Sheep also won the series for Continuum. What do you think this means as a statement for new players and subs coming into this league and having such success in high pressure situations so early?
I think that it speaks to. I mean, the players come in. Hot Asian Girl, we knew a good amount about if you're relatively well connected to who he knows.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert: Hot Asian Girl is not a grill. Um,
Yeah, sadly.
yeah, so we knew a little bit of Hot Asian Girl. A big win there helps his case a little bit in terms of being seen, and he got some solid BM in that ultimately won Mange's respect. Tanking, buffing an Antonitis +10/+10 from the Rafam spell, and then tanking it in the Warrior Freeze Mage Mirror. Yeah, and Super Explosive Sheep jumps in, gets the win 3-1, and has also been pretty active since in Discord. So I think this says a lot for these guys moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know with like I said, I don't want to get too far forward ahead of ourselves here, but I actually don't know the answer to this. I didn't know if you guys had any further insight than I do. I know Explosive's gonna be sticking around for a while. Is this a one and done for Hot Asian Girl, or is he gonna be holding that spot through the next match as well?
I would assume it's a one and done.
Andy's back.
Andy's back. Okay.
Yeah, we hadn't heard otherwise. I don't know if. Okay, yeah, Hot Asian Girl could have still subbed in for Andy. I didn't realize his PR was as high as it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um. So Harry Generals move on, but those filthy role players definitely put up a fight worth noting coming down to the last matchup. And I meant to bring up the graphics for the polls. Sorry, fans, I was licking my wounds this week. The show is happening because Slim Shikasti made it happen because they're awesome people. Um, but the Harry Generals were heavy favorites in this matchup. And I think those filthy role players definitely stood to the test. Which brings us up to our next matchup, which was another one that final score of 15-13, real close between your boys at Gosu Slimsh and Team Supreme. Why don't you lead us in?
Yeah, so this one was extremely interesting to me because I think not even a few days prior, or maybe a week prior, there was some conversation. I think after the last power rankings came out, even about the about Team Supreme and where their
Mm-hmm.
strengths really lie, whether it's all at the top or whether
Mm-hmm.
what does the bottom bring to the table. And here we saw in very interesting fashion both Dear Jason and Cheesy lost, who have kind of been the anchors. It's true they have been the anchors for the team. Like they have the best records. I think Cheesy had not dropped a game prior to that, and Dear Jason had only lost one. So they've been doing work in their team. There's no
Oh
argument
yeah.
there. Um, yeah, but this was a week where they both lost, and it came down to the rest of the team to make it happen. And they did against Gosu, who's relatively well positioned in some of the bottom seeds, like the 3 and 4
Mm-hmm.
seed. So I thought really, really impressive display there, and they've got to be feeling really good moving forward, knowing that even if things get hairy up top, no pun intended, because they're playing the Harry Jones. Even if things get bad there, there's they still got a solid team as a whole.
Yeah, I think this is the moment where I have to swallow my pride and eat my words. As I said, if I believe it was last Tavern Talk, maybe the one before, that if Dear Jason and Cheesy fall, Supreme would fall.
Mm-hmm.
In this case,
You said when Dear Jason loses, they lose.
well,
Just
yeah,
again.
I said they're putting it all on 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that the current trend up to this point has been if Dear Jason loses, they lose, which, as correlations go, up until this week was 100% true. So here's me eating my words publicly and going, Team Supreme 3 through 5, awesome job, congratulations on the win. And Jason and Cheesy, you guys, I wish you the best of luck moving forward. Right? Is that me doing a good job of eating my words there?
Yes. Yeah, they were good games. The Jingen and Dear Jason had a pretty interesting series. I streamed that on my channel. I think the VOD's dead at this point because my channel's not fancy. They don't get saved for a while. Feels bad, man. Oh, that's a drink, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Me and Cheesy on Salty Saturday. I think I drew way too lucky in those first few games and made a terrible equality at one point. But yeah, overall,
Oh man, that was so
pretty
beta.
pretty entertaining stuff. Yeah, well, you know, never punished, obviously.
Yeah, Slim though. Just a quick shout out to you for those who weren't in the Discord whenever a Supreme member was not around. His pre-work to that 1 and 2 spot was quite impressive, and it obviously paid off with Jing and Slim. Unfortunately, couldn't seal the deal there for you, but I was impressed. I was impressed.
Tried so hard, got so far.
And I was like, yeah, I tried. Oh my God, how I tried.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Um, one last point to bring up here, because I like to say when I'm wrong sometimes, when it's convenient for me, and I have to admit, if I had made odds before that week, Prometheus versus Adam, it probably would have been 80-20.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, man, you guys are haters. Prometheus is so good.
And you
He's
know
such a
what,
good value.
Cassidy? You said that several times too.
Yeah,
You have
he's
said that
so
several times.
good.
So that one to me was one of the biggest shockers in that series. Even probably more so than anything that went on up top, as all those guys are great players. So any given salty Saturday, anything can happen. But yeah, so shout out Prometheus on that too. Which brings us down to the red division.
Oh
Things
boy.
happen.
That was
We
rough.
lost. Feels bad, man.
THL Sunday ticket goes to Game 5 in match number 5 to decide who moves on. Oh man, the drama was so good, so intense.
It was, man. And the series even came down to a tie, but in playoffs, tiebreaker goes to the team that won the most overall matches, which in this
Mhm.
case was Continuum. And I'm not gonna lie, man. We started the week off with my 3-1 over Grim, and if for those of you playing along at home, that's how the week started the last time we played Continuum. Um, Salt 3-0'd Almace the
Almost.
first
Yep.
time on Salty Saturday. Salt 3-0's Almace this time. Uh, Zather loses. Like everything literally lined up the exact same way. And I don't know why I thought Adidas would not beat Loaded Lux again, seeing as that's what happened the first time. Um, and I thought Loaded Lux had a really solid strategy going into it. But, Adidas once again proves that top 100 legend does not mean THL success. But Lux being the guy he is, I mean, kudos to Adidas. Took it like a champ. Can't wait to come back for season 3. So Adidas, be ready. He's gonna get one off you next season.
Oh man.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, both those guys are well. Lodlux is extremely new. Adidas is relatively new first season, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. In
So that'd be fun to watch.
It's gonna be great, man. I love working with Lux. He participates in the fireside I'm a part of, and we're constantly working on like the whole meta of playing in tournaments versus the meta of playing in ladder, which some people struggle with. I struggle with ladder meta a great deal. Um, some people struggle with tournament meta, but we'll get them there. We will rise again. Um,
Entropy will rise again.
I'm hoping so, man. We just solidified our team for next season today, so we're already at work. I don't know what the
You
rest
want
of
to
you guys.
announce who it is?
No, I don't, because you know what, man? I want the focus to be on the semifinals and the championship, because right now that's where the hype needs to be. We've all worked so hard all season to get to where we are. We'll talk about off-season and pickups in the off-season during the time of pickups. Right now, we're talking about those boys down there at Team Rank 5 and what they did to their opponents, Noob Central, the most convincing win of the quarterfinals. Cassidy, tell us about it.
So we went in with really strong game plan. We had beaten them before. We thought we could get them again, and we did. It came out afterward. Noob Central actually expected they were going to beat us. Like they didn't say, "Oh, you know what, we have a chance." Like they expected to beat us, according to Noob Central. Um, Considering they beat us one, or we beat them last time, even with the God's Gift over Mange upset. I don't know. I kind of feel insulted hearing that they expected to win, but they didn't. They lost 4 out of the 5 matches, and we move on. So feels really good. Our sights are set on Continuum. We've been in the cave all week long,
Yeah, you
and
have.
hoping to translate that into more success.
I mean, I just don't know what to think about a team who, like to use the word expects to win. I just don't know what to think about a team like that in THL. Like that's just setting yourself up for failure. I think like of course we all want to win and we all want to like give the best feeling about, doing so, but I don't
Yeah,
know. That's pretty interesting.
yeah. Hearing that on the back end made winning feel even better. Felt
Even
good to get
better.
back at Cutthroat too after the reverse sweep last time.
Yeah, so I found this one pretty interesting because we just talked about the other three quarterfinal matches, and they were all, quite close. Even the Harry Generals and those filthy role players, like the score wouldn't imply it, but we know it came down to the last match. Like that one decided everything. But Team Rank 5, 17 points to 9. That's before the 3 even get added at the end. Those points don't matter anymore. Like we're not trying to shoot. It's just winner take all.
Mm-hmm.
But like the margin of victory in this one was just crazy compared to what was going on in the rest of the bracket. Thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is definitely a statement victory there. And as you said, I mean, it would have been even better if they had said before you guys played that they expected to win.
Oh yeah, that would have felt really good.
But
But
I will
that's
say this, as somebody who hangs out in the Discord a lot, I'm sure if we even looked in Discord right now, you'd see everybody not named Cassidy probably in the Team Rank 5 lobby.
yeah. When
Um,
I left, it was Mange, Parker, Imbolc, and me, and I think Jesus is in there too. I think it was all 5 when I left. We've
Yeah,
had all 5 probably 4 of the 5 hours I've been home have
I
been
should
sitting
be
in
I
there.
should be taking screenshots. Eventually at some point in the night when Cassie goes to bed or something, the Team Rank 5 room does empty into the general chat and there's HOTS that gets played there. It is intense before that point. They are all bundled up in there with doing their thing.
Now, Cassie, to make a very important note here, as you guys have been extremely consistent throughout the season, and unlike the week-to-week shuffling we saw with you guys last season, there hasn't been much change in seeding on your team towards the top as there was last season. What do you think it's gonna mean for you guys going into next week with the changes you have up top?
I love being the sacrificial lamb. The last season we had a ton of success when I went in as the 1 seed, just kind of playing without anything to lose,
Hmm.
and we're gonna be back to that. If you've noticed, if you followed the psychological event that is Team Rank 5, there is typically one of the 5 of us mentally and spiritually broken at any one given time.
Yeah,
And
Team Rank
right
had
now that
kids.
is Parker. Parker's not feeling too good. He was really upset that he lost again, and he gets to come down to the 3 seed where Imbolc previously was broken and came on down, and now he's back to being his insufferably overconfident self. And so we're hoping that Parker will get fixed, and I don't get broken because I expect to lose in the 1 seed anyway. and then we'll have everybody mentally right going into the finals. That's the goal. I am a huge fan because I think that the skill ceiling per seed that determines the match gets lower the higher up you go, if that makes sense. I think in the 1 seed, the preparation and then just like the draws and the RNG become more important than they do, say, in like the 3 seed, where I think the better player more prevails more often than not. And so
Hmm.
we get probably the best 3 seed in the history of THL, rivaling like Markshire, like in terms of quality of player. And he gets to go down there against the guy playing his second week in our format. So it feels pretty good.
That's a great point about. I didn't even think about the whole
You
super
can,
explosive sheep coming in. But I will
yeah,
say
they've
this, man.
studied up on this.
Here's what I will say about that. Um, if you were in the entropy locker room last week coming into it, being named the sub on Thursday, uh,
Oh, I'm sure that had to be so difficult to deal with.
and not having much on him, but at the same time, we're sitting there, Furpo up against this brand new guy.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that you've
Overconfident.
spoken. I know you've spoken highly of Furpo, and everybody here knows I thought very highly of him. Explosive sheep is not to be slept on. Uh, that's just my friendly. Not that we did. Not that we did, but I think in the back of all of our minds and our subconscious there, we were fighting the whole, this is Furpo going up against a brand new guy. And definitely
Just
didn't work
having
out the way we thought.
nothing to work with is so difficult when you have so much history and you know that like a team like Continuum's looking at that. Like we kind of ran into the
Hmm.
same thing with Jesus and Hamboning because like we had 1 week of Hamboning to look at, and he ended up bringing a lot of way different decks than he played the week before. Jesus was just able to pull out the win.
Hmm.
So like that had to be so difficult.
Well, the other piece to it too, and I'm pretty sure this is how it went. I could be lying through my teeth right now. You'd have to check with Continuum. But I'm also pretty sure Super Explosive Sheep was forced into playing Despair's classes because they had already been submitted.
Huh.
Which is a rule here in the THL is
Oh, yeah.
if a player has
Really?
submitted their classes and you have to find a sub after classes have been submitted, they have to play the already submitted classes. So um, that was another disadvantage. I could be making
Yeah.
that up though, but I'm pretty sure that was what happened.
And he had Mage and Warlock in there anyway, which are
Which
both
is,
super
yeah,
versatile.
they're also pretty much everybody brings them unless you're one of the few rogue players out there who throws
Yeah.
rogue in the place of one of
Yeah.
them.
Sometimes you let Jaina sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaina's probably the one that I sub out of those two more
Yep.
often than not.
So speaking of people winning things and lineups being great and all, Slim, I heard on Wednesday Face was the place.
Oh yeah, the Wicked Wednesday, the 8-man bracket.
Oh god, it was only 8 players.
It was an 8-man bracket, yeah. Yeah, let's. I guess it's not going to take very long to look at this Wicked Wednesday. Huh? Good news. I am now over 10 euros with my win at Wicked Wednesday. I can now
Beef
redeem.
jerky time.
I can redeem these things and get some beef jerky. Um, yeah, I was sick of losing in the first or second round of like the past 5 Wicked Wednesdays, so I brought all face decks, and it felt pretty good. Smart people all the way to the finals.
Now, here's a question for you, Slim, because I know I had previous plans. I'm a regular of the Wicked Wednesday. I thoroughly enjoy my Wicked Wednesdays. Um, do you think it was due to off-season burnout that the numbers have dropped, or do we need to get back on the hype train for this Wicked Wednesday thing?
Um, I don't know. It was posted. It was posted early enough in the week. I thought it was posted on Monday or so. It was pinned at the top of the page.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe people knocked out just kind of want to take a break. People in this tournament, a few of them were knocked out. A few of them were still in the playoffs. Grim was playing. Detrucci was playing. Dunamis, who's free agent, was playing. Gideon was playing. So I don't know. It was definitely like we once the off season swings around, we might need a nice big tournament to
Well, let's give
attract
this
all the masses.
let's give this PSA right now. If you're one of the main free agents, I see quite a few names that I don't recognize going by in the Twitch chat right now. Um, this is a great way to get noticed if you're somebody trying to figure out how to break into the THL and get your name out there. We do talk about Wicked Wednesday every week here on Tavern Talk, so Make sure you sign up for those if you haven't experienced one. And if you have experienced one, come back so that I can beat you in round number 2 because I usually get knocked out by round number 3. All right, enough about this Wicked Wednesday stuff. Let's talk about the real hype.
Oh boy.
Semifinals week. Um, a matchup we've seen once, and I'm sure that you guys feel the same way I do, and I can't wait to see it again. I hope we have pretty much actually with both matchups. I hope the streams are filled. I want to see all these games, or as many of them as we possibly can. But the Harry Generals and Team Supreme, two teams that have enjoyed a great deal of success and bounced somewhere between number 1 and number 3 throughout the whole season, are squaring off yet again. Uh, the first one went to the Harry Generals. Where's the second one going, guys?
Ooh boy. Oh man, Cassie, you wrote up this whole thing. Why don't you get started?
So the Generals won a really close game before, and they won it because of kind of what we expected. Like they stole one of the top 2 seeds and won everywhere else. But like this time, Supreme's playing coming off of a win in their other 3 seeds. Like I don't know. I think Prometheus is a lock, and I think the 5 seed for the Generals is probably a lock. And then I look at the 3 seed where I think the Generals are favored, but like Moo can play, and if the real Moo shows up on time and like she's ready to go, she can play with Mark Shire, Andy Rogers, whoever she's playing against. Um,
Andy
and
Rogers.
then the top 2s are both toss ups. So like I think the Harry Generals are favored. Like I think if these teams played 10 times, Harry Generals probably win 6 of them just because of the way THL is set up. But especially because like if a team sweeps twice and then plays tight everywhere else, they can still win in overall points. Like I don't know. I guess I have to pick the Harry Generals logically, but I'm gonna have popcorn out all weekend just kind of watching it unfold.
Yeah.
I think that the other big thing is that Cheesy and Dear Jason have both seen who they're playing against, and like we've seen like Dear Jason bring like those slow like super mid-rangey paladins or like aggro paladins or like I think they're both very good at slightly teching decks into like halfway new archetypes and then finding success with them against their opponent's lineup. And I don't know if I've seen that from the generals yet. So like maybe Supreme can use that to their advantage. I don't know. But I think they're gonna have to get creative to pull this one out, but I think they can. So
That is a great analysis of the round 1 match. And for those of you reading the Twitch chat, I just informed my co-host here, I had an awesome little experience of my video card crashing. Never had that happen before.
cool.
So we're going to have our first ever intermission here in Tavern Talk as I get a quick reboot in, and we will come back to finish talking about the Harry Generals versus Team Supreme in the semifinals of the THL playoffs.
Bye.